Hello, my friends. Hello, all you beautiful beings. Welcome to Astrology with Maya. And in today's video, we are going to speak about the month of May. It's May 1st today. Welcome. Welcome to May. May this be a month that is filled with miracles in your life. You guys, I hope you believe too. Okay, I'm just welcoming in here. We're just going to call upon the angels here and just ask that they bless all of us this month with a greater joy and love and abundance than we have ever known before. Ooh. We are going to discuss transits that are occurring during the month of May, and I'm going to teach you guys how to actually look at your own natal chart in the amazing whole sign house system to determine exactly how these transits will affect you personally. This is one of my favorite things to do every month. I love it, love it, love it, love it, and I hope you guys will love it too. We're all going to need to have a copy of our natal chart, okay? If for some reason you don't have this and you're just watching for the vibes, God bless you, okay? That's cool too. But to make the most, it's now time to pull up some sort of copy of your own natal chart, okay? And especially in the whole sign house system. And if you don't have a copy of your chart in the whole sign house system, right here below, I am going to link a video on how to generate your chart in the whole sign house system, which is the original astrological house system. And I believe it is the best, okay? I believe it's the best and most accurate to reflect what's going on with our soul. Let's say you have a copy of your chart and it's in the Placidus system, or it's in the equal house system, and you want to know what it would look like in the whole sign house system. Basically, just take whatever your ascendant sign is. Mine, you guys, is Virgo. So, okay, so for me, it's Virgo. It doesn't matter what degree your ascendant is at, but whatever the sign is, that would become your first house. First house would be ruled by the sign of your ascendant, and so any planets that would fall in the same sign as your ascendant, those would all now be considered first house planets, okay? And then we'd go from there. And so, you know, the next sign after your ascendant, that whole sign, anything that falls in that sign would be your second house, and onward and onward and onward. And yes, okay? Do you now have a copy of your chart in the whole sign house system? Okay, hopefully you do, because I'm ready to get started with the first transit that I would like to discuss, which is actually the one that most of us are probably most familiar with, and this is the transit of the sun. The sun right now is in the sign of Taurus, which is affiliated with coming to know our self-worth, coming to feel so worthy. It's affiliated with Venus. It's affiliated with love. It's affiliated with groundedness. It's affiliated with this everything that's of the senses. And it's affiliated with things that we can touch and hold in our hands and being connected to the earth and all of these wonderful things. What really becomes illuminated when the sun is transiting through Taurus, which, by the way, will be until May 21st, is actually whatever area in your chart is ruled by Taurus. And it's really important for us to pay attention to the transits of the sun, because as the sun moves through our chart, you know, throughout the year, when the sun falls into a certain house, that becomes the area of our life that spirit is supporting us in illuminating and gaining the truth and gaining understanding and just lighting up, okay? And so you'll see that in my chart, Taurus, Taurus rules the ninth house, and I'll tell you what. As soon as the sun moved into Taurus, I started thinking about ninth house matters. I discovered a truth in my life. I don't want to make this about me, but it was a shocking truth that was revealed. And you know, the ninth house has to do with truth, higher truths. And I started to have this like growing desire to travel longer distances, to go abroad. These are ninth house matters too. And anyway, first thing you want to do is locate, right, which house is ruled by Taurus in your chart. And know that from now until May 21st, Spirit is supporting you in your maximal success and abundance and shining a light in that area of your life. So if Taurus is ruling, say, your third house, this is the time where Spirit is saying, call your friends, like call your friends, chat about, current events, what's going on. Visit your siblings, open your mind, get curious, get excited, have lighthearted conversation, right? If Taurus is falling in, say, your 11th house, Taurus is the ruler of your 11th house, then Spirit, the universe, is saying, now is the time for you to find your people. Who are those people out there who can help you achieve your dreams? Are you feeling the call for a higher vision? What's your higher vision? Not just for yourself, but for all of humanity, okay? Whatever house that the sun is falling in, these are going to be the matters of your life that are going to be illuminated until May 21st, okay? And if you focus your energy on those areas of your life, you'll have maximum alignment and abundance. If the sun is falling in the sign of Taurus until the 21st, then it's going to move into Gemini, so it'll be the next house. So say Taurus is your 6th house, Gemini will be your 7th house. So you're going to notice an energetic shift right around May 21st, May 22nd, depending on where you live in the world. And then that new house is going to be illuminated. For me, you guys will see that Gemini, I love me some Gemini, like, oh my goodness me, like, oh, Gemini rules my 10th house, which is the house of your legacy, your career, and how you shine in the world. And so you want to pay attention to when the sun changes signs and shift to focusing on that house in your chart, okay? The sign of Gemini, it relates to curiosity. That's why I love Gemini so much, I think, because there's so many wonderful things to explore and learn here in this world. And there's so many different ideas. And I think when we can just open our mind and just say, you know what, I am going to allow myself to be curious, and I'm going to allow myself to see life through the eyes of all these different viewpoints, and to be open to anyone's ideas. Sometimes we can get triggered when people believe different than we do. But Gemini is not about that. Gemini says everybody has their own reality, and there's exciting things to discover by talking to everyone, right? And Gemini gets really curious about different vantage points. And Gemini is about keeping it light, you guys. Gemini relates to communication, to Mercury. It's like the fun facts of the zodiac, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, how are you? How you doing today? What do you think of the weather? What's your favorite color? I love Gemini. Okay, and Gemini also relates to our relationships with our siblings. It's ruled by Mercury, so this can be a beautiful time. This can be a beautiful time if you've got a brother, sister, cousins, especially if they live near you. Get together. Now, I know, social distancing, but just keep your distance. Get together, at a 6-foot distance. And chat about the area of your life that's ruled by Gemini. That'll be so good. And Gemini relates to short distance travels too. Oh, so many of us are confined to our homes at this time, are we not? Well, many of us may not have had a chance to explore what's right there in our backyard for a while, because maybe we're always going in the car, maybe we're going internationally. But as the sun moves through Gemini, it's time to explore however you can in your own backyard. You can take a little walking trip to the nearby park or wherever it is. Just get out there and explore your neighborhood, okay? The sun will be in Gemini until about June 20th on the summer solstice, but we'll cover June in June, okay? But anyway, it's gonna be there from about May 21st to June 20th. Make the most by focusing on that house area in your chart. Set the intention that the light may shine on that house area. Say, for example, that Gemini is ruling your 7th house of marriage and personal relationships, okay? There's actually a lot going on in the sign of Gemini this month, so a lot of the transits we're going to talk about will have to do with Gemini. So I'll just say, locate the house ruled by Gemini in your chart right now, and know that big picture throughout the month of May and early June, this is where a lot of the restructuring is going to be going on in your life. It's going to be in the house that's ruled by Gemini. And so you just want to open your arms and just be ready. Like, say to the universe, I am ready to upgrade this particular house in my chart. Universe, this house ruled by Gemini, show me the light, show me the way. Show me how I can find greater love, greater beauty in this area of my life. Show me how I can achieve my destiny in this area of my life. Because you guys, in many ways, that is what May is all about. Gemini is gonna like that. There's a lot of good juju for that, okay? Now moving on past the sun transits, let's talk about the transits of the moon, you guys. Ooh. So the sun is where, like, the universe is shining a bright light, and it's where we can shine personally. So I love transits of the sun for that reason. The moon is more so, you guys, as a psychic, I love the moon. I love the energy of the moon. I love the moon card in the tarot. The moon is our intuition. Where the sun is how we shine out in the world. The moon is how we shine within. The moon is our emotional intel. The moon is like the depths of our soul. The moon is our subconscious. The moon may affect you on a very profound level, these transits of the moon, because they're deeply felt in the heart and they're deeply felt on an emotional level. So you guys, the new moon and the full moon are very, very powerful dates in our life, and they really are times to go within and to get quiet and really reflect on that area of our life dictated by the sign of the moon, and to plant a seed. And it's got to be a seed, you guys, like not a superficial seed. That's not what the moon is about. The moon is like, especially these moons, you guys, what is your deepest desire within your being? What is that? Not the desire of your conscious mind, but the desire, you guys, of your subconscious mind, okay? Align your heart with that. Bring your personal magic to the times of the moons, okay? The first big moon event here in May is going to be the full moon in Scorpio, you guys. Oh, this is going to be conjunct my Pluto yad. Oh, destiny awaits. Okay, the full moon in Scorpio on May 7th at about 17 degrees of Scorpio. Now, the full moon is the harvest, okay? It's a harvest time of the new moon that related to the same sign, or the new moon that was in the same sign, which occurred 6 months prior. So, as we go into this full moon on May 7th, you want to think about what was happening in your heart. What was your heart like longing for, calling out for at about Halloween, okay? We had the new moon in Scorpio on October 27th of 2019, you guys. I'm like getting so many chills because this was such an intense time in my life, okay? And so look at the house that's ruled by Scorpio in your chart, and this is where you're going to receive answers to that call that you put out around Halloween, around the 27th, okay? This is where Scorpio magic is gonna come alive for you guys. I'm so scared. Like, I'm both so excited and so scared because on the 27th of October in 2019, right, when we had the new moon in Scorpio, I was about 5 months into an experience of being the caregiver for my dying grandfather, and he was really approaching death. And it was a frightening time in many ways, especially knowing that I was there with him alone and he was approaching death. And he actually ended up passing on October 30th. But what was in my heart at that time, now Scorpio rules my third house of communications, and Scorpio relates to life and death, transformational processes, the world of spirit, the unknown, all those things that are magical and unseen, psychic power, etc. What was on my mind at that time was communications from the beyond. What was on my mind at that time was mediumship. It was connecting with spirit. It was my own personal life experience and interacting with the spirit world, seeing ghosts, stuff like that. And I set in my heart at that time an intention that when my grandpa transitioned to the other side, that I would begin to open up the door to the spirit world once again. And you guys, I closed that door when I was a little girl, or I tried, because I was terrified of the spirits and they were coming to me so often. And I said, no, I don't want this. I don't want this gift. I don't want it. And I pushed it away as hard as you could ever push anything away. And I said, around the 27th of October, in my head, I was like, my grandpa could hardly speak at that time, and I said in my head, like, Grandpa, please, like, whenever you're in heaven, will you be like my guide to help me with mediumship so that I can be safe, like, in using this gift? And the weirdest thing happened. The next morning, I was making his breakfast, and he was sitting in his chair, and I had a reading to do. I was still doing readings all throughout this, and he looked at me, and he said, "Child," he called me child, "I will help you with your work." And it was just like perfectly like lucid, even though he was kind of in a dream world at that time. "I will help you with your work." And I just got all chills. And so now that we're having the full moon, like coming now and bringing the time of harvest to those intentions planted at that time, well, I know this may be the beginning of an unfoldment of my life experience destiny as a medium, which is not something I've spoken about before. It's something that I know exists. It's something that I've been really afraid of for a really, 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 really long time. But I'm setting the intention now. On really May 10th, because it was 3 days after the new moon that my grandpa passed on October 30th. So on May 10th, 3 days after this full moon, I will allow the door to the spirit world to open once again so that I can begin being a messenger for those on the other side. Okay? Woo. Okay, some of you will know, like if you've had personal readings with me, I've done a little bit here and there. Oh, your grandma's here. Oh, this person's here, or whatever. But I know that I'm meant to do much more than that. Okay, and I know that it's becoming time. I'm growing up, you guys. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to do it. Okay, so that is, that's the full moon. And then we're gonna have a new moon, okay? So where the full moon is where we're receiving harvest based on the seed we planted about 6 months ago. The new moon is where we're planting the seed for harvest in about 6 months, okay? So the new moon is going to be happening in Gemini, of course, and it's going to be on May 22nd, okay? And 22 in numerology is a master number. It's the master builder number. So this is like a really powerful new moon. And you want to think about, oh my gosh, I have such an intention, you guys. Okay, you want to think about what is the intention that you would like to manifest in the area of your life that pertains to the sign of Gemini that you want to come into fruition right around Thanksgiving, okay? on November 30th, or right around November 30th. Now, again, for me, Gemini is my 10th house. So I am setting the intention here, like with this new moon, that I can just create for all of you something truly wonderful. Like, I'm going to keep it as a little secret in my heart right now, which I recommend doing. At the time of the new moon, I like to write in my journal, in my diary, like a vision of where I am going to be, like in 6 months' time, and especially how I'm going to feel. So I recommend doing that if you keep any sort of like date book or journal. So, oh, yes. Okay, you guys. What is your new moon seed? You have some time to think about it, okay? But by the time that we come to May 22nd, you want to know, what is the seed? What are you creating in that area of your life that's ruled by the sign of Gemini? So again, maybe Gemini is ruling your 7th house, okay? And so it's like, okay, so 7th house is right, the house of marriage, one-on-one partnerships. You got to ask deep within your being, in your subconscious, in your heart, deep within your being, what is your heart crying out for as it pertains to one-on-one relationships? What is that, What is that secret desire of your heart and soul that you'd like to see come into fruition in the sign of Gemini, in the house ruled by Gemini, in 6 months' time? Okay? Okay, so that's the new moon in Gemini. Now, another big event for all of us that is occurring here in the month of May is, do you guys know? Who knows what my favorite part of astrology is, you guys? Favorite part of astrology is the nodes, the nodal axis, the north nodes. Now, I always give you all lots of encouragement, and I want to still encourage you guys, achieve your north node. Okay, work on your personal north node sign. But in addition to whatever sign your personal north node falls in, we also have the nodes transiting for the collective, okay? So it's as a whole, as a society, what is our societal destiny? And so the nodes have been in Cancer. The north node has been in Cancer for a couple of years now. So as a society, we've been learning about the importance of family, the importance of home, the importance of our nourishment, the importance of the heart, the importance of honoring our emotions. Many of us may have experienced themes that relate to sort of career versus family, or our public destiny versus our personal destiny, or things like this. And I don't know about you guys, but during this time where the nodal axis was in Cancer, I healed family dynamics in a way that I never thought that I would. I'm so grateful for that, by the way. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, universe. So grateful. So before we begin our journey through the nodal axis in Gemini, think about what you've achieved over the past 2 years that relates to the sign of Cancer, your heart, your home, your mother, your family, these sorts of things. Okay, because that was your destiny during that time. Now, with the north node now moving into Gemini, we've all know what house in our chart now is ruled by the sign of Gemini, okay? Because that's where we've already talked about the sun transit there, we've already talked about the new moon transit there. So all the way until January 18th of 2022, as a collective, we are all going to be working on Gemini. We're going to be working on being more open-minded. We're going to be working on investing in our communities, our backyard. We're going to be working on strengthening loose sort of social ties. We're going to be working on our conversation, our communication, our creativity, and learning, and kind of getting in touch with like our inner child again, our childhood friends, all of this kind of stuff. I love it so much. Whatever house is ruled by Gemini in your chart, you've got a purpose to bring out in that house, in that area of your life here over about the next 2 years. And because the nodes are moving, the north node is moving into Gemini, it also means the south node collectively is going to be moving into Sagittarius. So I think many of us are going to be asked to release things pertaining to Sagittarius. So many of us may think that we know the truth, for example. We've found the truth. We've found the light, like about, our religion or our spirituality. During this time where the nodal axis moves into Gemini, that truth is not going to serve us anymore. This is our time to get curious and question what we know and be open to newer truths emerging. Similarly, the sign of Sagittarius, right? It relates to higher education. And I feel like some people maybe have been in college, right? During this time, they've been pursuing some path of higher education. They may find when the nodes shift into Gemini that that's not actually what they want. What they actually want is to be self-taught. Maybe they don't need to go to film school. Maybe they're just going to use Skillshare or whatever and like learn how to make films, because Gemini is like the information that we just like pick up quickly and just apply right away. And so some people that have been on this like long quest to learn from like professors, scholars, gurus, they're going to find actually I can learn just as much from my neighbor. I can learn just as much from the homeless man on the corner. He knows God just as much as the guru knows God. Okay, so we're letting go of the Sagittarius things. Another thing that relates to Sagittarius is the long distance travel. And so, of course, many of us, like due to the virus, we are not able to travel internationally. But I think what a lot of us are going to find is that sort of access to foreign cultures and faraway places, we can find that in our community. Instead of having to get on an airplane and go and fly all the way over to India, why not walk down the street and introduce yourself to that Indian family that lives on the corner and invite them over to your house for dinner, right? So this is the type of thing, and it's not to say that we won't be able to travel internationally all the way until, January 18th of 2022. I think that we will be. But I think that the universe is going to ask us, how can we gain access to cultural experiences in our own backyard? And I love that too. Oh, I think that Gemini energy I think it's really going to be a lot lighter. It's definitely a lot lighter than Cancer. Cancer is about like the deep emotions, that we've all been working through the deep, dark. Many of us have been crying a lot, processing a lot of emotion. Many of us are coming to a culmination around that now as the nodes finish up in Cancer. Gemini's more relates to the mind, the lighter part of the mind. And so I think that airy quality will be helpful for all of us, right? Okay, now we're going to understand. We're going to see things in a new way, okay? All right. Now, another thing that relates to the sign of Gemini, like I told you guys, there's a lot going on within Gemini. This month's planetary retrogrades of significance. And so the first one that I want to talk about is Venus retrograde. Okay, I know some of you guys are here because you love love and you love hearing about love, and so this is the retrograde of love for you guys. And whenever a planet goes retrograde, what it means is that the energy of that particular planet becomes internalized. Okay, so it's a profound actually internal process, and every summer a lot of planets, or this time of year, every year, a lot of the planets go in retrograde motion. So you might notice that you feel a call around this time of year to like deeply reflect and do some inner work, okay? Now, Venus is the planet that relates to, as you guys know, love. It relates to our relationships, to courtship, to beauty. It relates to also money and your material possessions. And sometimes if you happen to be male and you're a heterosexual male, it can relate to females in your life, especially like someone you're dating or marriage partners. If you are a woman or even a man, like Venus can also relate to your personal appearance, your sense of beauty, your sense of what you value. And Venus retrograde times are ultimately like working out in our benefit, right? They're working for us to help us purify our personal relationships, okay? Sometimes things can get a little difficult during Venus retrograde. And by the way, you guys, this Venus retrograde is going to be starting on May 13th all the way until June 25th. Sometimes things can get a little difficult during Venus retrograde. It can be a time where if you are in a relationship, often your relationship can be challenged. Sometimes there can be misunderstandings or old issues from the past can come to the surface. If you are single, it can be a time where you feel like that internal like longing for love. And this can be a time, as we know, like as many of us will know, Venus retrograde can be a time where old lovers like from your past, they end up coming back in, or we find ourselves like reflecting on loves of the past, where we've been, where we want to go. That's what this time period is about. Many astrologers say if an ex-lover comes into your life like during Venus retrograde, just don't even pay attention. I don't believe that. You know, I believe that when we love someone, we love them forever. And that love, true love, if it was true, it's eternal. It's throughout time and space. It's forever and evermore. And those people that we love like really deeply are usually close soul connections. And they're connections of our soul. There's not any way to like just, you know, even if you slam the door in their face in the physical, you're still connected, you know? I think if an old lover comes into your life like during Venus retrograde, or if you feel called to connect with somebody from your past, it's probably for healing. And it's probably to bring peace back to that connection. It's probably because there's something related to that connection that needs to be seen through the eyes of love, like, and from a more beautiful perspective in order for you to then move forward in that area of your life. And so you want to look at where is this Venus retrograde occurring in your chart again. So where is Gemini in your chart? Because that's the area of your life where you're going to be experiencing this need to find beauty within. Well, you guys, I'm running out of disk space, so I'm going to have to end today's video here, and I will do more astrological updates throughout the month as the dates come. And thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being here today. I love you guys. Thank you to the new subscribers, the old subscribers, to all of you. Many blessings to you. May this be a month of miracles in your life. Thank you for watching, and namaste.